Lock us in, load us in, pop in that 8-track, spin the tape. Here we go. Hey now, everyone! Welcome back to a brand slightly sad, but ultimately exciting episode of Star Wars Time. And you may be asking, why is it sad? Well, it shouldn't be sad if you've been listening and writing down our instructions, but this is our final Star Wars Time episode that will air on the Entertainment Budacast Podcast Network. I know. We're going to miss you too. But if you've just been listening to us, we're not going away. We're just separating. Don't even call it a divorce. Think of it like a little kid leaving home. Or I think last week we described it. It's like we're giving birth. EB's giving birth to a Star Wars Time baby finally. It's been 3 years we've been under that umbrella. Loved it over there. Hell, I run Entertainment Buddha, so I'm not going to talk shit. But honestly, under the Entertainment Buddha Podcast Network, we could never get our Star Wars Time show branded properly. The graphic wasn't right, nothing. So people really didn't even know we were mainly a Star Wars podcast. So that's the reason we're moving. And this will be the last episode on the Entertainment Budacast Network. So if you are a fan, you are a loyal subscriber, you're subscribed to our feeds through whatever platform, make sure to bookmark StarWarsTime.net. You will not miss anything when the cutover happens. Over there, you're going to find the new iTunes feeds, the new Android feeds, Google Play, Stitcher, you name it. It's all going to be over there. It's up and running. It has been for over a month now, and we've actually got a decent amount of content under our belts already. So, please, people, if you've been listening and you like hearing two idiots talk about Star Wars, one's usually drunk, the other one's usually sane, make sure to follow us to StarWarsTime.net. StarWarsTime.net. You got it. I feel like I need Billy Mays.
Yeah. You need some sort of infomercial. We need to be
Billy
on
Mays
a
here.
screen. We need to do a
StarWarsTime.net. It's 1,000 times stronger. Bye.
Dude, I mean, we can make that YouTube video, but we got too much other stuff to talk about. We got too much other stuff to do right now because this is the first week where we've had more than one or two pieces of episode 9.
I mean, just the last 2 days, dude. We were in our, pre-game in the cast here, getting our topics lined up, and within the past 2 days, it's like, well, holy shit. We're finally getting stuff we thought we'd be getting over the summer when it was shooting, but apparently there have been some marketing meetings, and the folks over at MakingStarWars.net obviously killing it, and they provided some good things to think about. Some, I would say, almost concrete details. There's plenty speculation to go on, so Nick and I will be doing that. But before we get to all the Episode 9 stuff, there's other stuff we want to talk about. It's actually, for our final episode on the Budacast Network, again, this isn't the final episode ever. We're just moving to StarWarsTime.net. We actually got a ton of shit to talk about. So let's not waste any more time, my friend, and let's get right into this week's Resistance recap. So, we had a new episode debut. It's called Star Wars Resistance, Secrets and Holograms. And it was a pretty good one. It had 4 Easter eggs. So in terms of Easter eggs, I wouldn't say it was fantastic, but the content was good. And we're not really going to get in the content too much. But basically, Torah Doza's daughter, and Ezra starred in this episode. So we got a lot of Torah, which I like to see because I think we talked earlier. She was included on the series poster when it was first announced.
Yeah, we thought she was going to be like a main character within the show. And, 10 episodes in, not quite yet, but this one she really did kind of take a primary role here.
Well, she was included with Team Fireball, who has been the main cast. So it's always like, well, why is she in there and not with the Aces? But I think we're starting to find out, especially in this episode. So basically, she was locked down because Doza was having the First Order come by because he's thinking about using them to protect the Colossus, this, that, and the other thing. Make a long story short, her and Ezra kind of break out. They get
Kaz, not Ezra. For all of you Rebels fans out there.
Damn it!
Not Ezra yet. Kaz.
I hate myself.
If you don't know who
Punch
Kaz
me!
is,
I'm not even drunk tonight, and I can't get the damn name straight.
it's a new show, a new main character. I mean, they do have some similar features, but if you need to learn who Kaz is, I do have a piece up on StarWarsTime.net about who exactly Kaz is, where he came from, stuff like that. But anyway, back onto you, sir.
Yeah, so Kazra, as I like to call him, they kind of team up. They're farting around. Kaz sees an opportunity to maybe get into the tower to kind of further along his spy mission, because he still thinks Captain Doza is probably the First Order mole. I do not. It's too obvious. I'm still sticking with Yeager maybe being involved. I think that would be epic. That would be like a major twist.
Yep.
I don't know if Star Wars has ever done a twist like that outside of I Am Your Father. But anyways, what we find out in this episode is that Tora knows exactly what Kaz is up to. I mean, she calls him out to his face at the end, basically say, dude, are you a spy?
I mean,
to which Kaz is like, no, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, she kind of does her little soliloquy, and she's like, oh, I'm going to figure this motherfucker out.
Yeah, I mean, Kaz isn't exactly the most, under the radar guy. He is kind of clumsy. He does kind of stick his nose around where it shouldn't be, especially for a mechanic for Team Fireball. Like, what was he doing running from the First Order when they were on the station, almost being killed? What was he doing embroiled within this plot to kill the children that the First Order was trying to do on the station as well? There's a lot of things that Kaz probably shouldn't have been wrapped up in, but has been in his time on the Colossus station. And Tora is not a stupid person. She's very smart.
Well, she even told him. I don't know if you picked up on it. Excuse me, I sound like I had a penis in my throat. But she said that her dad told her that he knows that Kaz was a former. He was in the Navy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the New Republic Navy.
Yep.
So what the hell is he doing as a mechanic on Colossus? I mean, I think that's why she initially was like, "Hey, bro, what's going on?" But she also knew that he snuck into Doza's office, which we'll talk about when we get to the Easter eggs. So she's no dummy, and I think this episode just kind of showed and reinforced our belief that eventually this character could become main in terms of being featured more than just an episode, then you don't see her for 3 episodes. She'd be more like, what's his name, Niku, Tam, Yeager. They show up not every single episode, but maybe every other, or you at least get a passing glimpse of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kaz really does need, not really a confidant, but like a co-pilot, for lack of a better term, in this show. If you think about all of the other Star Wars animated series, all of your main characters were really working within teams, and even though Kaz is on Team Fireball, he doesn't really have that second person to him within the show. With Ezra, there was Kanan, and then there was the surrounding team, Phoenix Squadron, and then with Clone Wars, you have obviously Anakin and Obi-Wan always working hand in hand. Kaz doesn't really have that in this show, and it would be interesting to see if Tora kind of rises to that role.
I even kind of proposed in my write-up that maybe they become an item. It could be the next Han and Leia.
Could be.
They even talked about in this episode, like, hey, there's not a lot of people on this station our age. Let's go out and kind of hang out. And they were playing video games. So, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it is a cartoon. I doubt it's going to get all lovey-dovey. But I do think Tora is going to become a more prominent character and play a bigger role in Kaz's ultimate journey. So, on to the Easter eggs, Nick. There was only 4, but there were some great ones. So, the first one happens immediately as you fire up the episode.
Yeah,
Tora's playing a game called Flight Simulator Squadron, Rogue Squadron reference, by the way, if you play video games, which features snow speeders and exogorths. And if you don't know what an exogorth is, think space slugs.
Episode 5, when Han was flying through the, what is it? It was the asteroid field, and he swoops down, lands, and then unwittingly lands inside of one of these exogorths. aka space slugs. And yeah, you see
Right. So
one
in the
pop
game,
right
it just comes down. It's like the enemy. It was coming down trying to eat these snow speeder things. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. It was a really cool little moment, and you even had a really good side by side shot. Well, not really side by side, but the flash shot showing the snow speeder and how the back design of it matches exactly the back design of the ship in the
Right.
game.
I know the game. It kind of had like some little spoilers on the back, but I believe snow speeders do have flaps that it could pop up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Empire about 15 times this month.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of my kid, and I'm pretty sure like when he's with Echo 2 is looking for Han and them. I mean, you can kind of see his things tilting up as he's making turns. So
Yep.
I was like, those are fucking snow speeders.
100
Maybe modified, but they're definitely snow speeders.
For sure, for sure.
So the next one stuck with Empire. Like I said, there's actually a lot of all old trilogy references in this episode. But we already know Tora she's like me. She's a Star Wars universe collector. I mean, we broke this down a few episodes back, and I'm not the type of guy that does Easter eggs breakdowns where I'm going to repeat ones I've already brought up. But her room's loaded with memorabilia. I mean, she has fucking Ewok dolls, a Phoenix painting, and now we find out she also has a Tauntaun plushie.
Yeah, it's just like
It's hilarious.
It's almost like they actually made the original trilogy into movies within the Star Wars universe,
Right.
and they sell merch for it.
Well, I mean, it's you technically maybe they did, because I mean we know at least by the time we get to TFA, which is only a few years out from this, that young people do hear of these rebel heroes, and they almost think of them as legends. You know, Han Solo, the Kessel Run guy, Luke, the guy that literally blew up a Death Star and then killed the Vader and the Emperor technically.
yeah.
So yeah, maybe there were stories going around, or shows, or the local Toys R Kessel or some shit for Tora to go buy this.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, that kind of stuff could be their World War II movies. You know, they could be their
Exactly.
Saving
Good.
Private
Yep.
Ryan or Dunkirk or something. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I mean, it's possible. I mean,
Saving Private Skywalker.
oh man, dude, you know that I guarantee you there was a show or at least a fantasy novel written within the Star Wars universe about that time period. But yeah, I mean, to see this stuff again, like the Tauntaun plushie, one, is pretty cute looking, and two, just to show that the characters that live within this universe are as big of fans of the happenings in the universe as we as fans are of everything. So it's pretty cool to see this kind of stuff pop up.
So far, no prequel fans though, which I support.
No.
Okay,
Anakin
next
Skywalker.
one, third Easter egg. Again, pointed to the old trilogy, but it was huge. It's not just an Easter egg; it was a huge revelatory moment for Captain Doza, and it happens when Kaz breaks into his office and has to hide in his closet, and lo and behold, he finds an Imperial officer uniform.
Yeah, this is definitely more of a
Huge.
reveal. Yeah, this is a huge deal, especially like you said. You know, I feel like the show's trying to lead you towards.
Oh, dude, it's a smoke screen for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, everything around Doza being the mole is straight up smoke screen.
Exactly. So, you know, showing this Imperial officer's, outfit is definitely in line with trying to get everybody who's watching to believe that he's the one. I mean, now he's working with the First Order to get protection from these pirates. And, you know, he has this First Order or this Imperial officer's uniform. This guy is definitely, he's looking a little squirrely, but I'm on your side here. I don't think he's the mole. I'm definitely leaning more towards Yeager. Maybe a little bit less now that I've found out, like, what happened to his family, because the big question mark for me was, like, well,
Yeah, I know.
what the hell happened to his family? We found out about that in a previous episode. They were killed in an accident during a race. It's still kind of muddied, but I'm on your side here. I think more Yeager than Doza, but I mean, I gotta keep in mind that this is a show for kids, and maybe they don't want to make it too.
Is it though? I mean, is a show that airs at 10 o'clock on Sunday night really for kids though?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hear you.
That's just because of all the streaming shit now, and it really doesn't matter when it airs. They can watch it the next day on the app.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I think there's some high level shit. Like, I think if I threw this up for Charlie, even though she can watch the live action movies, she'd probably be like, eh.
Yeah.
No, I know exactly. Where's Leia? Where's Luke?
She wants her characters.
Yeah, where's Han? Where'd Darth Vader go? Where's somebody going? I mean, that's basically the entire movie for me.
Yeah, you gotta give her.
Where'd Leia go?
You gotta give.
What happened to Obi-Wan? It's like we've gone over this little one. Obi-Wan's dead.
Yeah.
He sacrificed himself to the Force. Where'd he go? He's one with the Force. What's he doing?
Hanging out with Yoda.
Yep. Well, he's doing it so he can help Luke. What's Luke doing? Where's he going? Okay. I want to watch Han and Carbonite. Okay, we'll watch Return of the Jedi again.
Again.
That's what she calls Return of the Jedi is Han and Carbonite. Empire is Darth Vader, and A New Hope is Luke's land speeder. That's how she references the movies.
Oh my god! I mean, at least
funny.
she's got she has it picked out though to where she's got unique, call signs.
Yeah,
that's great.
I want Han and Carbon. Okay.
All
right. So yeah, I mean, back to your point on how we're being spoon-fed the Doza stuff. I don't even know if it's for us. I think it's more for Kaz. It's to so he'll keep going down that path. I mean, us being the audience, we can kind of see. We see that Doza is very uncomfortable with this First Order stuff.
Yeah.
We see that he has no love for the First Order. You can see when he's in there by himself that he is under pressure to keep the Colossus and its inhabitants safe above all, which is probably why he's willing to do dirty stuff with the First Order. Plus, we know he's getting played. I mean, the First Order hired the pirates to fuck up the Colossus, which in turn got Doza to eventually, get the sanction from the First Order to protect them. So I think as the audience, we know much more than Kaz, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they are definitely, the way the stories are being played out, they're definitely forcing Kaz into its Doza or bust.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no other good candidate out there for who this mole could be. I mean, if you look at all of the characters within the show, it's either going to be Yeager, like we mentioned, or it's going to be somebody that's completely out of nowhere. Like if it's
and I don't
Tam, or if it's one of the aces, like if it's Hype, or even Tora. I mean, who the hell knows? But if it's not Yeager, it is going to be a pretty big surprise to I think everybody who finds out.
Well, I think it has to at least be someone the audience is familiar with. I don't think they just pull out some dude working in the market and he goes, ha ha ha, it was me all along. And you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it has to be someone we've already met. I'm not saying that to be a main, but like you said, it would have to be an ace, a team fireballer, Aunt Z. I mean, someone we know, and they are a recurring character, not just a one-off. Like homeboy Kit Fisto lookalike showed up again this episode. I mean, that's just you can tell a random character.
Yeah.
It's got to be a named character, I guess, is what I'm going to go with. And in the end, we don't know. I mean, we don't know if this plot arc is just for this season, or if Kaz's mission is going to extend for the entire run of the show.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't even know if this is going to get a second season. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if it does go beyond this season, like the whole who is the First Order spy. I mean, it's possible that we haven't even seen them yet in any meaningful way.
We haven't even met the person yet. So it really comes down to what's the show's exact timeline, how many seasons have been ordered, is it even doing well? I mean, I know there's, I don't want to say a large faction, but there's definitely people out there. And I really, you know what I think this is, Nick? And I'm seeing it more and more on Instagram. The prequel generation is getting old.
Yeah.
And they're like starting to get out there and really put out in the world that their movies are good. and their properties are the best. Like the latest meme I saw was like the first Clone Wars cartoon, and the button was like upgrade, and then it went to the 3D Clone Wars cartoon. Then it went to upgrade, went to like another one. It's like, no, go back, roll back the update. Is like they showed Rebels.
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's terrible, roll back to Clone Wars. And then they showed Resistance. They're like, oh my God, please just die. And then they showed the Clone Wars Returns, and they're like, oh, thank God. It's like, oh my God, man. It's as predicted. I mean, I think if kids were born in the 90s or even the early 2000s and their caretakers were stupid and starting with the prequels, they genuinely believe movies like Revenge of the Sith are some of the best Star Wars stories out there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before in a previous podcast, the people who are really fans of the prequels are just interested in fast motion and waving lightsabers. Like, that's all that is really there for you in the prequels. Like, you know, people run very fast, and there's a lot of stuff that moves on the screen, and there's a lot of lightsabers hitting things, a lot of lightsabers hitting other lightsabers.
A lot of senators and trade agreements.
Yeah.
And,
So,
I don't know, again, we're not here. We always preach, everyone's got their own opinion. We're not here to like tell you you're dumb. We kind of are, but we're not. If you want to like the prequels and you think they're better than the original trilogy or the new stuff, that's on you to live with. I know I'm not going to convince you otherwise. We don't do that at Star Wars time. I mean, I'll tell you why I think you're dumb, but I'm never going to tell you that you need to change. Have at it, people. If you think the prequels are fantastic, go for it.
yeah, 100%.
I happen to like this new content. I happen to like that they're breaking away from some of the Skywalker stuff. It's good. I like new. I like old. I like it all. I mean, shit. I still watch the prequels at least every other year, so I don't hate them that much. I do, but they're part of Star Wars. I gotta live with them. You got to do it, right?
Yeah.
I just lucked out that my kid knew the right way.
Yeah. See, she's one with the Force. You know, I think
Right.
some
Well,
of these.
I mean, she is my kid, so
strong.
I've passed on my midichlorian count to her, clearly.
I mean, it's.
All right, so yeah.
All right, last
Moving on. Yeah, last one. Slight stretch here, but not really. So, as I said, this episode is all about Tor and Kaz. They're on a little adventure, and they kind of get into a hairy situation when they're trying to escape the tower, which they do through a trash facility, just like our boy Han, Luke, our girl Leia, and Chewie. This was not a trash compactor, though, although Kaz did make that reference. And if you looked at the door, it's identical to the door used in A New Hope's trash compactor.
Yep.
So I did think it was worth mentioning. It was a definite callback to that moment. You had two hero characters escaping certain death in some form of trash facility. This one happened to be a trash incinerator that, curiously, instead of just burning stuff, shot lasers at its trash.
Yeah, I don't understand that functionality, but you know what? It's pretty cool to see.
Whatever. Yeah, it made for a nice little action sequence.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a pretty fun little scene. And then also, for those of you who are keeping count of trash compactor or trash facility mentions in the new content, this is the second one. The first one occurred in TFA when Finn said to dispose of Captain Phasma in a trash compactor.
Yeah, so this to me was a clear nod to the original trilogy. It wasn't just happenstance or just circumstance. It was they definitely put it in there for a reason.
Yeah.
And that, my friends, wraps our Resistance recap for S1, E10, Secrets, and Holograms.
Good stuff. And now we get to move on to the appetizer course to all of the Star Wars episode 9 rumors. We have one other set of rumors that came out this week, and it's revolving around the Mandalorian. We've gotten a lot of, rumors, castings, and a lot of action around the whole Mandalorian set and scene, mostly out of MakingStarWars.net. Those guys are really plugged in. Like, they apparently just have people sitting outside of the set with camera phones at all times taking pictures. But this rumor in particular comes from Reddit. And it's a user with, clearly they just made this username.
That's a pretty sweet handle. I'm going to try to pronounce it. It's ABC.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So they made this username up pretty much right when they realized they had some juicy Star Wars rumors to drop. So essentially, this person was able to attend a Disney marketing conference. And within this conference, they gave some information on both The Mandalorian and on Star Wars Episode 9. So we're going to hit the Mandalorian stuff first and kind of cover what we think this could be and what impact it's going to have on the plot. So the rumor essentially reads that the central plot of The Mandalorian revolves around the main character, Pedro Pascal's character, the guy who we see in the photo, in the Mandalorian armor. He is hired to kill a baby, and he does not, like, he gets there, he's about to do the deed, and then he can't do it. He ends up saving this baby, and then the show revolves around those two kind of growing up together, or becoming close together, and finding out who this baby is, and stuff like that. So that's the rumor out there about the Mandalorian. So what did you think about this, Matt? What was the first thing that you kind of thought about this whole baby deal?
The first thing that came to mind, and I'm still trying to. I swear I've seen this narrative before. Maybe not in Star Wars, but another property where something similar happens. Isn't there like a movie or something where a hitman is supposed to kill a kid, but he doesn't, and then they keep him and they become buddies? I don't know.
I think it's The Professional, right? Is it The Professional?
That's kind of it with Queen Amidala.
Yeah, exactly.
As a little kid. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this narrative's been done. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. In terms of it being in The Mandalorian, I love the idea. I think it's fantastic because it instantly gives the Mandalorian the character that is, some heart, a reason to follow him, a reason to root for him, a reason to fear for him. I mean, I dig it. I think it has more potential than just a random Mandalorian gunslinger rolling around the galaxy, pew-pewing stuff and knocking out bounties and being a scoundrel.
Yeah, so that was kind of my first thought too, is that this immediately softens the character. And like you said, Mandalorians, bounty hunters, whatever you want to call, whatever this character is, always have a very tough and rugged exterior. People look at them with fear in their eyes. You don't really think about, Mandalorian characters as approachable. But then, with this whole plot line playing out the way that it might, according to this rumor, you immediately start to see this character in a new light, in a more paternalistic type of way. From what it sounds like, he's trying to keep this child safe and protected. He doesn't want. He's definitely not just trying to get rid of them or like hide them away so nobody can find them. Like, he actually takes this child in and protects it, raises this child. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. And then also, one thing that's probably going to be associated with this is a time jump, right? I mean, you can't have a baby as your second lead. Like,
Exactly. No, so I think if this does go down, that'd probably be maybe the first part of episode 1.
Yeah.
Where he goes out, we learn that he's tasked to go on this mission. He, is getting ready to kill and then can't do it, and then maybe it progresses in episode 2. I don't see it being just him and the baby for more than 2 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, it would,
because I think what do we get, 10 in this first season, or technically we don't know if it's going to have more seasons.
10 episodes. Yeah, that's what was ordered, and
right.
$100 million.
Yeah. And I would imagine we get more if people pay Disney Plus. You never know. But yeah, I don't. If this is true, I definitely don't see the baby being in baby form, if you will, more than 2 episodes total.
Yeah, I mean, it would put. I don't know, man. It would put such a burden on the plot line.
It'd be dumb. It'd be stupid. I mean, that would be stupid. Watching a Mando roll around the galaxy with a papoose on his back.
Yeah, there's not.
No.
Really,
I mean, that's like old man Logan type of shit with Baby Hulk.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit that could go wrong there, or like it just slows down the action too much. So yeah, I agree that the baby will not be a baby for long. Another thing that I kind of put within the article.
Yeah, run with this. I think your speculation's actually more interesting than the rumor.
Yeah, so if you guys want to go keep up with us on StarWarsTime.net and just type in The Mandalorian in the search bar, you'll find it. So a lot of the speculation around this was who is this baby? Of course, you hear about a baby. It's got to be somebody. Whenever there's a character in Star Wars, they are someone. And a lot of speculation is that this baby is the heir to the Mandalorian throne. And I tried to kind of break this theory down a little bit and based it off of what we know about Mandalore as a planet and where its leadership is, as far forward as we can get. And as far forward as we can get is Rebels, Star Wars Rebels. In Star Wars Rebels, there's a character by the name of Bo-Katan Kryze. She was a Mandalorian, lived on the planet, who was a part of Death Watch initially. Death Watch was this rogue faction of Mandalorians who were trying to overthrow the government, eventually taken over by Darth Maul in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. But by the time Maul gets in, Bo-Katan Kryze is kind of, removed herself from Death Watch. She turned against them and then went back on the side of the proper government of Mandalore.
Well, I mean, depending on your knowledge of Mandalore royalty, if you will, she's also the sister of Satine, who was Obi-Wan Kenobi's love interest in the Clone Wars cartoons.
Yeah. So she's a known character. She's been out there for a while, and then within Rebels, she actually becomes the leader of Mandalore after she is gifted the Darksaber by the Ren clan. She is essentially, handed over the throne of Mandalore when she receives the Darksaber from the Ren clan, and has, to the best of our knowledge, as far as we know in canon, is the leader of Mandalore. Now, with the speculation about this baby being the future leader or the rightful heir to the Mandalorian throne, there's a lot of things to kind of unpack here. So one, we did not know of any son or daughter or heir that Kryze had within Rebels. Now, there is some time between the end of Rebels and the beginning of The Mandalorian, but it might be a little weird if all of a sudden the character who was the leader of Mandalore has a baby, loses the baby, or somehow somebody puts a hit out on the baby, and then, the baby is then taken by the Mandalorian. It seems like a weird happenstance.
Dude, I don't know, but it makes sense, because why else are you going to put a hit on a fucking baby?
No,
unless you're Darth Vader or the Emperor.
Yeah. I definitely think that the baby is someone, but I feel like unless the character of the Mandalorian is some sort of unless his stance is anti-current leadership of Mandalore, then he would get this job. He would show up there. He'd know where he is, and he would see this baby. Be like, I can't. This is Kryze's baby. If I kill this baby, I'm fucked. And I feel like he would just kind of turn around.
What if he just gets the contract and he doesn't really know his target's a baby, and then when he gets there, that's when he's like, fuck.
Yeah, I think that's
like,
more than likely.
He's like, I can't do this shit. I mean, yeah, I'll kill anyone, or I'll round up anyone for some credits, but I'm not gonna wipe out a baby.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I can see that being the circumstance behind it.
I still like your angle better, to where it still has to be a baby of importance.
Exactly.
So I think that remains true regardless of the scenario.
Yeah, I mean, who it is yet to be called out, but
dude, you have to be spot on. Like, I almost want to take it to the bank. I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be her kid, but I think it would be someone important to Mandalorians.
Yeah. I mean, the Mandalorian, honestly, if you think about it, the Mandalorian title might not even be referring to the main character. It might be referring to this baby. I mean, if we think about it now,
look at this guy. I mean, come on, people. That's why you should follow us over. Look at him.
It's a pretty good call out by me.
Look at the shit he's pulling out of his ass tonight.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that could be wrapped up with this baby, and what exactly happens here. But I mean, it's going to make it interesting. I really do think that this adds a level of complexity to the plot that it needed, outside of, like you said, just a gunslinging mercenary, totally. Something like that. So I'm all for it, and I really want to see how this is going to play out and exactly what this timeline is going to look like now, because I think that could be heavily affected by this. If this rumor is true, the timeline could definitely see some jumps or some progression.
Yeah, we know that this is 7 years post Jedi, right?
Yep.
4 years post Battle of Jakku.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. I don't know. I mean, is she already gonna be? Or I like how I'm going right to a girl, but is the baby already grown by that period?
Yeah.
Or is that one, or are they going to advance the show 10 more years and we're just not hearing about that yet?
Yeah, I know. And that's what the interesting thing is. The cool thing to me about this reveal is that it opens up the possibility of the Mandalorians making their way back into prominence in the galaxy within a relatively short amount of time from when this show takes place. So if it breaks down like that and this baby is the leader of Mandalore and eventually gets, you know, risen back to the throne that he or she deserves, do they then become a more outward force within the galaxy? I mean, at one point in time, Mandalorians were some of the most feared fighters in any system. I mean, they led a campaign against the Republic at one point in the old Republic days. I mean, there was a lot.
Well, I mean, we've thrown this out there before, but they're the Spartans.
Yeah.
I mean, they are a warrior culture. I mean, they would be the type of people to throw their baby off a cliff if they thought it was defective.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to not poison the genes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the Spartans did.
Yeah. So to me, there's a lot of really cool things that could happen here, and I really do think that with this plot line, we could see things that play out and may unfold in other mediums. Like if there's a movie made, you can look at this show to justify the new standing of the Mandalorians in the galaxy because of what's going on in the show. So there's a lot of cool shit that could happen from it.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about with the Mandalorians is that they're essentially forgotten by the time we get to TFA.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they did become bigger players, where'd they go again? I mean, did the First Order just test Starkiller Base on their planet? I mean,
yeah,
but that's the problem with these Star Wars and the many years they span. I mean, look at all the shit George essentially broke from his original trilogies when he did the prequels. I mean, he turned Obi-Wan Kenobi into a fucking lying piece of shit asshole.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, really.
I mean, it's pretty.
But he got away with it from, cleverly he remembered he gave Obi that certain point of view quote in A New Hope. So he's like, hey, fuck it works.
Yeah, he's like, I can switch anything I want to now.
Fuck it.
Yeah, he's like, I can use this. Fuck. But yeah, I mean that's kind of the one thing that came up to me as well when I was writing this. I'm like, well, if this baby does become the leader of Mandalore, it's either going to have to be in a very quiet way, or something's going to have to happen between the time when that happens and the movies themselves. TFA, TLJ, and Episode 9.
Let's face it. We know who it is. It's Rey's mom.
It is. It's probably Rey herself. Like, it is Rey. And then the Mandalorian.
She just ages very slowly. Like, yeah, she drinks some Mandalorian juice, and it makes her age really slowly.
Yeah. Or we don't time jump, and we actually see a 7-year period of time, and it's just Rey the baby with the Mandalorian all the way till she's 6 years old, and then that's when she gets dropped off on Jakku.
And then just doesn't age again for the next 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, and then that's it. Like...
All right, well, that's our Mando piece. It's good stuff. I mean, I hope it goes that way. I just think it makes the Mandalorian character that much more interesting. He's not just a scoundrel, if you will. He's not just going around taking contracts, snuffing people out, and basically an assassin for hire. So let's get into the Star Wars Episode 9 Rumor Party. Yeah. We're going to start with a pretty easy one. I think we can kind of cast this one aside quickly, but I still wanted to post it today. There's this dude over at Collider, Steven Weintraub. He kind of threw out on Twitter that he believes, and he's not wrong. I mean, December usually is a big month for new trailers. And he believes that before 2018 is up, we're going to get our first look at Episode 9. And I just don't see it happening.
We got 25 days. We have 25 days before the end of the year. We're recording this podcast now on December 6th. That's a very short time window. And I mean,
Dude, they're not. Are they even done shooting Principal yet?
I
don't remember seeing the announcement that it's a wrap, the wrap party.
No,
and
yeah.
yeah, they're gonna have pickup shoots in 2019, guaranteed. But
yeah.
I mean, the fuckers just started like August.
Yeah, I don't think it's done yet because we would have definitely reported on Star Wars.
And that doesn't mean they
couldn't.
couldn't cook up a trailer. I mean, don't. That's not what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't think they're in any rush. I mean, look how the Last Jedi's promotion went down. I mean, they waited till fucking April.
Yeah.
Of the year the movie came out to drop a trailer.
So, I mean, I think too, like he referenced, or I think within this article you referenced that the first trailer, the first teaser for TFA.
And I was wrong. I think it was end of November, but it was end of November, early December, and it dropped.
Yeah, but I think
for TFA.
I think at that time the expected release date for the movie was still pre-delay, right?
Well, no, TFA was never delayed.
Okay, yeah, it was TLJ.
No, well, dude, think about 2014. None of this has happened yet.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the hype and excitement. I mean, all we knew is that Disney bought Star Wars and they're making movies, and the first fucking one's coming out in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's different circumstances. I mean, now in the 4 years since the first drop of the TFA teaser, look how much Star Wars we have now.
Yeah, I mean, we're overloaded.
Right, and I don't think Disney, especially after Solo, is in any rush to start jamming major Star Wars promotion in front of us.
Especially, I mean, you're over a year out from release at this point. I mean, at this point, later in the month, we'll get to the 1 year mark exactly, but it would be a little odd, given, like you said, given the circumstances and where we're at now in Star Wars land. I mean, I would figure you wait till. I mean, wait till con season, right? Is that the move?
I mean, I could see this going just like TLJ, and we get the teaser at Celebration this April.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the perfect time to do it. I mean, if you just do it on a random day in December, you're not going to have any fanfare around it. I mean, obviously you have fanfare around it because there's people like us and crazy Star Wars fans all around the world who are going to jump at it, but. I mean, Celebration is the perfect time to do it. It's a long enough time out from your release. It's 8 months out. And then that's plenty enough time to get your fucking marketing machine rolling and make sure that everybody is on board for Episode 9. I mean, I feel like Celebration, we get title reveal and first teaser.
Oh, no, we'll get title reveal before Celebration. If we're following the TLJ model.
Yeah, I guess they did. They gave us the individual screenshot.
Yeah, I think
before.
I think the title dropped maybe in February of 2017, and then the trailer was April.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm not bitching. Don't take us the wrong way. I mean, I would take a trailer tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not bitching. I don't think the time is right. I think Disney's going to let its Marvel films dominate December in terms of trailers. I mean, we got the second Captain Marvel. It was fantastic earlier this week. We're supposed to eventually get Avengers 4 potentially tomorrow, which would be December 7th, depending on when you're listening to this. I think they're going to let those roll. And the other movie Steve mentioned was Frozen 2, which I think that for sure is going to be tagged on the Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't see a movie coming out in December that warrants getting the first Star Wars trailer.
No, I mean, unless you're gonna attach the Star Wars trailer, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you put it on Captain Marvel, right? Like Captain Marvel is, yeah. I don't think that's where you put it. I don't know. I mean, I think you're right. I don't think that we get it yet. It's just, it doesn't feel like it's time yet. It doesn't feel like there's not the right place to do it.
There's always time for Star Wars time, bro.
There is.
That.
There's always time.
I think with all the factors that Star Wars gone through this past year now, because, I mean, we're approaching the year anniversary of the movie that literally, according to some of you, ruined your lives, just destroyed you. I think Bob's fine just kind of letting things settle and then really getting us salivating in 2019.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick and I have said this 1,000 times. They're fucking idiots for dropping Solo in May. Because I guarantee you right now, if that thing was coming out next week, people would have hard-ons for it at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. They'd have been like, fuck, it's been a year since Star Wars. Shit. TLJ might not have liked it, but thank God I get to go see a Star Wars movie again.
Yeah, I mean, and think about the marketing for Solo. If we want to take that, I mean, that's the most recent movie that was marketed, Star Wars movie that was marketed. I mean,
that got its first trailer like a day before the movie came out.
That the first trailer was during the Super Bowl, which happened
February.
in February.
And it came out in May.
Yeah, I mean, like they literally gave that movie 3 months to stew before it released. It was just
terrible.
such a fucking.
It's unreal when you look back on that. You just got to go like, what in the fuck? Oh, if you're a gamer, I just got to throw this out there. I don't know if Nick would be a fan of this, but they announced Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Okay.
Do you remember that series from, I think it would have been on the 360 PS2 era? It's like a big-ass X-Men Marvel / action RPG.
Okay, yeah. I played the first Ultimate Alliance on Wii, actually, Nintendo Wii.
Anyways. Tangent, back to Star Wars. So, hey, if we get one in 2018, fan-fucking-tastic, right, people? I mean, we're not complaining. I just don't think it's going to be a reality.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right, next
Moving
piece.
on to Fat Man.
Former Fat Man, Kevin
And
Smith.
I'm not trying to be a dick. He's literally wearing a Fat Man pin in the picture I'm looking at as Skinny Man. So, I mean, this is his brand, but we're talking about Kevin Smith.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Smith is actually, he's one of the most outspoken and in your face. I don't want to say in your face, but like one of the most in the public eye directors right now. I mean, he may not make huge movies, but he's well liked, and he's a fucking.
I mean, if you young people don't know who he is, you need to check out some of his old movies.
I love his
They're
stuff.
fantastic. I mean, they're classics.
Yeah.
I mean, Mallrats, Clerks, Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. Chasing Amy.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a really good list of indie flicks that like
you'll understand why he has the geek cred that he does once you see these. I mean, I lead my piece with Kevin Smith is a mega geek and a Star Wars super fan, and that's understating this guy's fandom.
Yeah, exactly.
For geek stuff.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Kevin. I mean, this whole piece is around Kevin being on set. And obviously being able to witness J.J. Abrams directing some. And I think Kevin's been on the set for every Star Wars movie that's been filmed so far, right?
Yeah, these new ones, it seems he's taking advantages of his ties in Hollywood. I mean, I know he visited J.J. on TFA. I'm pretty sure he visited Ryan on TLJ. And now, clearly, he's on E9. And really, what he reported back, and it's some good stuff. I mean, I like hearing this stuff from a director that knows what it takes to shoot a film of this size, or he's been in the business. But he essentially explained to Good Morning America that, A, he saw the biggest set he's ever seen in his entire career, and B, he started to tear up while watching one scene in particular be performed.
Yeah, so...
He says this dude's not directing a movie. It's like he's directing a small country.
Yeah, when he said that, like, I mean, that's impressive. Like, the only thing I can think of to that scale, honestly, is Lord of the Rings. Like, is Lord of the Rings, like, not episode.
There you go,
like,
yeah.
Return of the King. Like, that to me has to be the next biggest set that's ever been done, but...
Well, I don't even know if like their sets were even that big. I mean, yeah, their outdoor location shots were fantastic, but I believe he's talking about
an actual
constructed set.
Yeah,
like they built this motherfucker.
Yeah.
But the other thing I think is revealing here, and it kind of leads me to believe that he might have watched Mark do a scene. But he basically describing how he felt watching the scene. He said, "I wept on set because I saw somebody give a career best performance." I think when you throw out the term career best
and the next line, yeah,
performance, somebody I've seen in these movies before. Okay, that you're down to Oscar Isaacs, John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, Mark Hamill.
Yeah, that's it.
Maybe Eunice.
Yeah. I mean, unless it is fucking Chewie going down, which I don't think. I mean, career best performance is not.
If you don't know actors, it's Poe, Rey, Chewie, Luke.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's saying he's seen these in movies before, Rose, maybe. Do we even know if Rose is back? I think she is.
I think she's back, but it's
she kind of has to be. I mean, you can't just I know he's been charged with course correcting, or rumored has been charged with course correcting Star Wars, but I mean, I don't think he's just gonna wipe Rose out.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, she's still gonna be in there, maybe with a reduced role, I would assume.
I mean, we've got some other rumors to talk about where he's wiping out some other characters that Ryan introduced, but I don't know. So I mean, to me, the way he described this moment, I think it has to be Luke.
Yeah, I think
It's got to be Hamill. It's got to be Hamill.
I gotta say, yeah, I agree. Because
Oh, Driver. We forgot Adam. Kylo.
I think it's still Mark, though. I think it's still Mark because Mark and Kevin have worked together before. Like, you mentioned Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah, exactly. Like, he essentially played a spoof of Luke Skywalker or a spoof
with
of...
a big hand.
Yeah, with the giant hand gets cut off.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, he knows Mark. Mark has been in these movies before, for sure. And a career best performance, I feel like a lot of people were... You know, whether you enjoy the portrayal of Luke Skywalker or not.
Ah, fuck, it's Mark. Mark's the only one.
Yeah.
I mean, career best. I mean, Boyega, love him. His career's like 3 years old.
Yeah, I mean.
Ridley, love her. Career's 2 or 3 years old. Oscar, a little bit longer than those guys, but not, I wouldn't even call it a career yet.
Yeah. And then Adam, I mean, he's been in TV shows, but I mean, not anything. It's Mark. And it's because of what we've been talking about in these podcasts since episode 8
So I
ended.
guess let's kind of do our thing. Why would he weep? What if it is Luke? Let's just run with it being Luke. What do you think he saw go down then?
I think it has to be the moment, a moment with Rey. I don't see it being anything. There's nothing left that is going to be an emotion.
Rey or Kylo? I think Rey or Kylo. I think he could have an emotional moment with Kylo still.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you think about it, if you think an ultimate showdown between Rey and Kylo is coming, and Kylo gets cut down, and he's on the ground dying, if Ghost
right,
Luke
that's what I mean, like something
up,
like that, where like Luke kind of comes in to redeem him, just like he did for his dad.
Yeah, like if Ghost Luke shows up right there, and like he's at his nephew's side as he dies, or then that could be a moment like that. That could be a tear-jerking moment.
Yeah, but like you, it's probably, unless they figured out some way to have Ghost Luke interact with fake Leia, it almost has to be between him and Rey. I don't know where else you could strike emotional chords on that level to get a grown man to cry on set.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's why it has to be Mark, and it has to be a character that he's either having an established long-term relationship with, i.e. his sister, or it's maybe like an apology to Rey, or Rey does something based on the knowledge. I don't know, but I do believe the moment probably is going to be shared between him and Rey. Maybe it's, hey man, we're related after all, and now I'm finally ready to tell you, or some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a lot of things. I mean, we have learned now that there's a lot of things about Force Ghosts that we didn't know could happen, that can happen. I mean, we talked about the corporeal form last week. Do you think it could be something like another new twist to a Force Ghost? What happens if like a Force Ghost can be obliterated somehow, like it can be destroyed to where even your essence is gone? And like,
yeah, that's a great point. I mean, even going back to your Kylo dying, maybe Luke infuses himself into Kylo to save him.
Yeah, I mean, something,
or like passes some more Skywalker midichlorians through like a spit or something.
Yeah, I mean, some sort of essence transfer to where Luke Skywalker is no more, but is, whatever he did, his sacrifice, his infusion has allowed this other character to live on, or something like that.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, though. I mean, I really think 9's going to be titties.
Dude, we've said this. I said this for 8. I'm going to say it again. I mean, this has the potential to be the best movie out of all of them. Out of all of them. I'm talking 1 through 9, Solo, Rogue One, everything included. This has the potential, because it's the last one. It's the last one. and it's taken, and JJ is doing everything he can to make it all come together. And I mean, if this isn't, I mean, I'm not saying it has to be the best one, but this one has more potential to be the best one ever than any of them that's come before it.
I mean, I hate to say this because I do like that Ryan took some risks, but I almost feel like this one has to be very safe with a slant towards a little bit of fan service.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't have, after this one, if we're right and the Skywalker trilogy ends, you can't course correct after this. It's done. Like with Ryan's, you still had the opportunity to patch it up if something went wrong. Something goes wrong here, that's how it ends, bitch, and it's over.
Yeah, and then we have the prequel conundrum where they are what they are. I mean, I'm still never. I don't even think 7 and 8 are even remotely in prequel territory.
No, not close. Not close.
And 9 won't even be either. But as Nick said, I mean, once they're done, they're done. Those stories are set in stone. I mean, there's no going back and changing the prequels.
Yeah, I mean,
it ain't gonna happen. I do not think it will ever happen.
No, I don't think so either.
Because at this point, it'd be like going back. Well, hell, I guess King David and them did it. It'd be like going back and rewriting the Bible. But hell, I mean that's happened all throughout history.
Yeah,
so
literally.
Why the fuck not?
Literally a lot.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? Just fucking rewrite it. Another 30 years from now.
I think you've mentioned it before, but I think that there is a blood pact between fucking George Lucas and Disney that says you can't fuck with my stuff. Like,
yeah, my 6 are untouchable. You guys own them, but you're not allowed to fucking do. You're not allowed to despecialize. You're not allowed to respecialize.
Yeah, no.
You're not allowed to fix my special shit.
Yeah, no. All you can do is sell it. You can sell it, and then I get a piece of it. That's it.
Yeah, you can make as many new properties and do whatever the fuck you want, but you're not touching my babies.
Yeah, so I don't doubt that.
All right, well, I don't know. I always like hearing from Kevin because I know he's being genuine. He's someone that I will look to after 9 comes out just to see what he thought about it because he always puts out usually a lengthy piece behind his opinion on the new Star Wars movies. He did a great one for TLJ, so it was a cool story. Can't wait to see the same moment. I have a feeling if it's as impactful as Kevin's saying, I'll probably cry too.
I cried
moving on.
TFA, so.
Yeah, I mean, I cry every time I watch Star Wars with my little kid. I mean, we're talking like almost daily. We're rolling in the weekends. I know I'm gonna watch Star Wars at least. The movies rotating. I'll probably see Jedi twice this weekend, Empire once, and A New Hope 2 more times.
Nice.
And every time, even the moments that always got me, even more so now, I'm like, oh, my daughter's sitting here watching with me, and she's starting to understand this stuff. And it's like, it's funny because I can see myself and her, and like when scenes come up that she knows something big's gonna happen, she starts to get excited or scared. And I was like, damn, I remember when I had that innocence, and I could watch it over and over, and it would still surprise me, and my brain couldn't remember shit. And watching it every time I saw something new and the experience, and now I'm 38 and I've seen it a million times, and I'm gonna watch it another million times with her. But they still get me sometimes. I mean, Jedi, the throne room scene, to this day, even with the no, gets me worked up. When she's asked me questions, I can't even really answer them for her because I start to like man cry. I'm like, oh, no, he's just, he said, it's like I'm trying to be tough and like explain it to her, but explaining it just makes me even more sad.
You're a proud father. I mean, that's
it's everything, man. It's like I go back to my dad and our bond with Star Wars, and then just the way that makes me feel watching a father watch a son be tortured and then realize that he's a fucking idiot, and then he does the right thing finally. I mean that. But it's just like seeing her watch that stuff and trying to remember when I first saw it. It's like, man, I wish I could. And that's why we had these movies. And that's why I get so excited about Episode 9 stuff. I live for these moments. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I watched TLJ. the opening sequence. My God, I mean, my fucking heart the whole time was going. And when she's dropping that damn remote, it's like no, 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 and they did it, and then they didn't, and it's like fuck. And then the end, Christ with Finn. I mean, I legitimately almost threw up. I thought they were gonna kill the fucker.
Oh yeah.
It's those moments that are so amazing, and I'm jealous of little kids that can essentially relive them over and over and over because their brains aren't quite there yet.
I watched Rogue again. Actually, like I started the process of showing my girlfriend the Star Wars sets. I started with Rogue. If you want that explanation as to why I did that, we can go into it later. But I started with Rogue, and you get to the scene with K2 going down, and like, gosh, it's just like get the lump in your throat a little bit. Like he's a robot, but man, like watching him go down, and then obviously from there, like the snowball that happens with all of these characters. I mean, it is that the end of that movie is really tough. Like it's emotional, and I mean, it's like you said, every film has moments like that where it's gonna tug on your emotional heartstrings, probably outside of the prequel.
And I hear this is probably one of the first times you'll ever hear me say something positive about a prequel. Those moments are few and far between. In fact, there's only one in the prequels, and it's the sad music when Padme's in the apartment, essentially knowing some shit's going on at the Jedi Temple, and we know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing her kind of like worried and stressed, that's the only time. And I don't, trust me, it doesn't nearly affect me like the other moments we talked about. But that's the only moment in the prequels where I almost felt some sort of emotional attachment to those assholes.
Yeah. So we're going to move on now. If you guys want plot details for episode 9, we're going to talk about them here. If you don't want plot details for episode 9, these are all rumors, but you may want to skip 15 minutes ahead or so.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, yeah, if you're a real Star Wars fan, you want to know everything. Fuck it.
Yeah, you want to consume it just like we consume it. But I will tell you this, having read all of these rumors, having written a 900-word article on these rumors, like, it's not that crazy. Like, it's not going to spoil this film for you at all. A lot of it is probably stuff that you may have picked up on anyway. So let's just kick it off with the article that you wrote, Matt, because we actually wrote 2 articles that kind of cover similar things, but you wrote this one off, and the first point on here you listed as Rey and Kylo fixing things, which is a very interesting way to put it, because the rumor, in fact, centers around Kylo's helmet and Rey, aka the Skywalker family lightsaber. The rumor around these 2 things is that they will both be back in episode 9 in repaired form. Specifically, Kylo's helmet will be reassembled with some sort of red tape or goo or some sort of like glue, something like that. And you're going to be able to see these red lines through the helmet as he's wearing it. And then also, the Skywalker family saber will be back in action, put back together after the devastating explosion that happened when Kylo and Rey were force fighting over it in the throne room. So what do you think about these 2 things?
I dig it. I dig the themes behind them, too. I mean, if you think about Rey and Kylo fixing things, one is fixing something from his past to stay in the past, to kind of keep himself hidden. I mean, the whole reason Kylo wears his mask is so he can be a good guy, even though he knows it's the wrong thing to do. I mean, a bad guy. I mean, think about that. He wears that mask to hide his emotion, because he's much closer to fully bad, but he still isn't there. I mean, again, he's not like Anakin, who was somewhat good and then was tricked. I mean, he kind of wanted to be bad, but he always had his humanity. Where once Anakin got fucked up and was turned into a machine, I mean, his life was he didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
like he just evil actually made him feel better.
Yeah,
hate. Pain, like that's what he wanted. He embraced it. Where Kylo, he likes to hide behind this mask. So when you contrast that with Rey and what she's fixing something that's going to allow her to embrace her future as a protector of the righteous, right? I mean, she's rebuilding this lightsaber that's going to allow her to embrace her destiny as the good badass Force user in the galaxy. Because I don't really think we refer to light and dark sides anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
but it is. I mean, I do like the dynamic, and it just kind of carries forward the symbiotic relationship between these two.
Yeah. So the way that I kind of likened the reforging of the Skywalker family saber to the reforging of Narsil in Lord of the Rings. So essentially, like you said, her taking up the mantle, like just like Aragorn did in Lord of the Rings. He reforged the Sword of the King and then took his rightful place as protector of Middle Earth. I think that's something that could also be looked at with this Skywalker family saber reforging. Also, there's some additional context you can put in there if we want to assume that there's going to be some sort of parental reveal, lineage reveal on Rey. This rumor could be very wrapped up within that. I mean, her reforging the saber would essentially be a way of her bringing her lineage back to life. You know, like the saber was destroyed, and then you reforge it, and you also find out that she is part of the Skywalker family lineage in some way, shape, or form. Those things both come together in a very interesting way. I put that in my piece, and then as well with, like, I think you hit on all the relevant points about Kylo's helmet. It's a helmet, but it is a mask. It is essentially him hiding the good that's still within him behind this facade. And
because he wants to be bad, but he's struggling with it because he's a fucking Skywalker. Big surprise.
Yeah, I mean, if you think
They're
about
a bunch of wishy-washy assholes outside of the women.
Yeah,
the men Skywalkers are fucking disasters.
Yeah, yeah.
Think about it. They're fucking disasters.
Yeah, I mean, Leia is the only one who's ever had a real stable kind of, life.
Yeah, if you accept the new canon, Yoda himself didn't want to train Luke because he knew he was a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
he's like, this idiot's just as bad as his fucking dad. Give me this one who's like dedicated her life to doing good.
Yeah.
And not bitching and moaning and always looking to the future and wanting to be someone else.
I mean,
I love it. If you think about it, the Skywalker men are fucking messes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you compare Anakin and Kylo at this point, it's very reversed. Anakin, like you said, Anakin wanted to be good. Like, he wanted to be good. He tried, and within him was the darkness that was pulling at him. But with Kylo,
it wasn't even that. I mean, the motherfucker did it because, according to George Lucas, he thought he could save his fucking wife.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, if you go off of Revenge of the Sith, the only reason Anakin switches to the dark side is to get the secret from Palpatine.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% canon. But I mean, like, if we watch Clone Wars, we can infer.
Yeah,
we can see.
Okay, I was waiting for that. I just want to make sure everyone knew that based on the movies, Anakin went to the dark side because he was gullible enough to be duped into thinking that he could raise the dead with Palpatine's help.
Yeah. So, but if you watch Clone Wars, you see those moments where the darkness is inside of him. It's tugging at him. He knows it's there. And he knows he fights it almost, most of the time, but he knows it's there. With Kylo, he is the darkness, but the light is doing the same thing to him as as the darkness was doing to Anakin. The light is always there, tugging at him, letting him know that there's another way. And that's what this mask is for. The mask is there to hide the light from everybody around him. And I think just like, one side wins out over the other one in these Star Wars films, I think that's going to happen with Kylo. Whether it be when he's cut in half and on the ground about to die, or, before that, I think there's going to be a redemption moment for him.
I'm back thinking about Anakin. And I'm like, ultimately he turned to the dark side because he could save his supposedly dying wife. But also because he was cocky.
Yeah.
He felt like he was being held back. He knew he was more powerful than everybody. He just didn't like the Jedi rules. And I think that's kind of Luke's point in 8. Like, listen, these guys were fucking bozos. Like, the Jedi Order were bozos. They were responsible for more shit than the Sith. They're the reason the fucking Sith did what they did. They're so damn arrogant, cocky. Their hubris. I mean, they thought they were the end-all, be-all, their way or the highway. You got to live like priests. But in the end, that's ultimately what kind of pushed Anakin over the edge. I mean, he was breaking their rules left and right. He's like, fuck you guys, I know better.
Yeah, I think...
but just the movies just did a shitty job.
I think the excuse... Like, his excuse to turn was for Padme. But ultimately, like you said, he turned because of the power. Like, I mean, even within that speech at, you know, during the opera in episode 3, like,
yeah, he was definitely drawn to the allure of unlimited power.
Oh yeah, I mean, Palpatine even says, you know, the dark side is a way to many powerful, or I can't exactly remember how it goes, but like, you know, that you can't learn from the Jedi. It's a way to be more powerful, and you're never gonna get it anywhere else. And Anakin was drawn by that. Like, yeah, he definitely wanted to save Padme, but there was internal motives aside from just saving her that
right.
led to
they
the
were
fall.
just, you don't get them in the movie, and that's why they suck, and that's why Revenge of the Sith is the worst prequel. Yeah. So moving on to the next little episode 9 tidbit we got. So, you know, earlier on we were getting some shots from sets, but apparently there's going to be potentially 3 different environments. I didn't want to call them planets yet, but there are 3 different environments described as a jungle world, swamp world, desert world. Making Star Wars, based on their sources, they don't know if the jungle and swamp worlds are different. They could be the same. But when I really thought back, I believe most Star Wars movies usually hit 3 locations.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the norm. I mean, just going back to The Last Jedi, I mean, we started on the planet that the Resistance base was on. Yep. We traveled to
Canto Bight.
Canto Bight, and then we ended up on Crate.
I mean, even if you didn't
TFA, right? Then we do Jakku, Takodana, Resistance planet.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't want to include like the planet that was being invaded by the First Order and TLJ, I mean, not by the First Order and TLJ in the very beginning, you have Acto, Crate, and then Canto Bight, and then like you rattled off TFA already. OT, you have, OT
Empire, Hoth, Dagobah,
and then Bespin. But then OT is weird because OT you only have Tatooine and then space, and that's it.
Death Star I count.
Death Star, yeah.
Yavin.
Yeah, oh yeah, Yavin. I forgot, yeah.
So like I said, I mean, it is kind of the rule of 3.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So
what about Phantom Menace, Tatooine,
Naboo, and then
Coruscant.
Coruscant, yep.
Yeah.
And then
there you go.
I think it's the same 3 in
Clones
episodes 2.
Goes 4.
Geonosis.
Because they do Geonosis, Tatooine, Camino,
Naboo. They go a lot of places in that one.
Naboo, Coruscant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so big surprise. The shittiest movie of them all breaks the formula.
Yeah, jumps the fucker. I mean, so does 3. 3 you're on
Mustafar, Utapau, Coruscant. I think that's it.
Oh yeah, he doesn't. Is that
it? Starts in Coruscant.
It does, and it ends on Mustafar. I think that's it. I think you're right. Yeah.
Nope. The moon base where they give birth to the babies.
The moon. Oh yeah, the moon base, and I mean, if you want to count this
Tatooine.
Yeah.
They go to Tatooine at the end.
Yeah, because he's on the. You see the twin
close
star.
enough.
Close. Yeah, but they do.
Out of the eight, 6 of them stick to 3 planets. So.
Yeah, not bad. But if we look at the locations, Jungle World, Swamp World, Desert World, I mean, there's a lot of parallels you can draw to the original trilogy from there.
And apparently the Desert World looks nothing like Jakku.
Okay.
The people in the know said they didn't see any set dressings that hinted at there was a battle years ago, and there's debris still out in the deserts. But who knows? I mean, where Finn crashed, you couldn't see any of the fucking junk either. So.
Exactly. Like it's a planet. I mean, there was
sometimes people are stupid.
Yeah, it's a whole planet. So it could be Jakku. It could be Tatooine. I mean, we haven't been back to the ancestral home of the Skywalkers for a while.
This go round, right?
Yeah. So I mean, you could find your way back there. I think that would be fitting.
You're right. I'm taking it to the bank. Tatooine is back.
I would
back again.
I would take it.
Guess who's back? Sand and shit. Okay. All right. So probably gonna get 3 planets. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Planets don't really get me that interested, unless they say like they're going to some crazy ass Jedi temple or some shit like that. But for now, moving on to the next one. This one to me, Nick, is probably my most desired rumor to come true, and that's the fact that we may finally get to see the fucking Knights of Ren outside of a flashback for a second.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck happened to these people? Like, we heard about the Knights
Ryan Johnson.
of Ren. Yeah, Ryan Johnson.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, as much as I love the movie, that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, because we, like you said, we saw them in a flashback in TFA leading up to Episode 8. Everybody's like, who the fuck are these people? We get art. We get a whole ton of shit around the Knights of Ren. We get rumors that the Knights of Ren were on Acto and there was going to be a battle. And then we get nothing, literally nothing with the Knights of Ren at all. So the rumor is back. They have gone from, as you said in this article, a band of force-wielding mercenaries to a group with many special abilities. Very interesting rewording of that. Not sure if there's any context behind it, but I want to see these people because they were cut up to be such a fucking cool faction that is unlike anything we've seen before. Like, we've never seen a band of mercenaries or a group of people unaffiliated with either side of the Force that are
even
there.
Unaffiliated with the main factions. Like, that's the point I make here, is that it kind of makes perfect sense if they finally get their debut in 9. Because they didn't work for the First Order. They worked for Kylo. I mean, hell, his fucking last name he gave himself is Ren.
Yeah.
Okay, like, I don't know if he started it, and they're like it's like a cult. Either way, they're his gang. So now that he is the First Order, it makes perfect sense that maybe they're coming in and doing his bidding now, like, just freely. They're essentially his team of Sith or special ability assassins, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
that he's probably sending out to look for the Resistance.
I mean, the rumor was initially that the members of the Knights of Ren were the converted former Padawans of Luke Skywalker. Right. I mean,
exactly.
So I think that, I mean, like, if you don't have the Knights of Ren in here, then you almost need to fucking go back into Episode 7 and edit the shit out. Because, like,
delete it.
Like, take it out from the Snoke line, and I don't know what you do with the flashback, but, like, you need to pay off on it, and this is your last opportunity. With
special editions, George showed us you can do whatever the fuck you want.
You can.
It can literally just be a hard cut. Like, they just cut it. It just goes to the next.
They just cut that entire vision part out.
Right.
Like, it's just
not even the vision. Like, she has it, and instead of going in the rain, like, you see her in the rain, then it just cuts, and she wakes up again.
Yeah, that's it. It was never
Game
there.
Over.
Yeah. But, yeah, dude, I'm with you. I think that this is a huge fucking reveal. I think we need this reveal. And they need to play a somewhat prominent role, too. Like, even if it's only from Act 1 to 2, like, they need to be, like, starting Act 1, like, they're causing mayhem. Like, they're fucking in.
Yeah, and I don't want names, and I don't want them to talk either.
Yeah, just show
I want them literally to be like Imperial Guards.
Yeah.
Or, you know, whatever the fuck they were called in Episode 8.
Yeah, the
Praetorian
Praetorians. Yeah.
Just badasses that you know are badass, and they don't even have to speak.
Yeah, you just
like Kylo just looks at them and they know what he wants.
Exactly. Like, something like that would be perfect. So hopefully we see more of these characters to a degree where it warrants their mention in the movies.
Yes, please. Let's get some screen time with the Knights.
The next one up, I think I'll let you read this one because I'm
gonna give myself some credit on this one. I mean, I'm known as a wise ass, and the next rumor was that, you know, we know Lando's gonna be in it. That's not a rumor, that's guaranteed. But they said what we do know about Lando is that he sports a cape, and the way I wrote it up was, yes, and bears shit in the woods.
Like,
basically saying, how could there be a Star Wars movie with Lando in it and he's not wearing a cape? This is a no-brainer.
The motherfucker has an entire room full of capes. We've seen it in Solo.
He's worn a cape in every movie he's in.
Yeah, like
Empire. The fucker wore a cape to go blow up the Death Star.
Yeah, he doesn't fuck around with fashion, especially with his capes. Dude wears capes everywhere he goes.
I can't wait to see old-ass Billy D in a cape.
Dude, it's going to be so dope. Like,
I swear he's senile, man. I hope he can get through it. I will love it. If he nails it, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, here's the thing. He's still got the voice, and that's half that's half the role is the way that he talks. So,
I think like physically the poor man is a lot worse off than Harrison and some of the older people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see him sitting down a lot. We're gonna he's not gonna do like Harrison did in 7. Like Harrison got around in 7, like he ran and like.
Harrison, he's an old dude, but let's face it, he's in pretty good shape. He still fucking flies and crashes shit at least once a year and lives.
Yeah.
He literally like saves people from burning buildings and plane crashes. Yeah. So he kind of has become Indiana Jones and Han Solo in one.
Yeah,
but Billy D, because he really wasn't in the limelight outside of Return of the Jedi. I can't think of another movie he was in.
He was Harvey Dent in Batman.
Oh yeah. There you go. But really, after that,
not a lot.
He's pretty much been retired, probably going to cons, making money on autographs.
Yeah.
So he hasn't really had the same motivation to potentially stay in shape like Hamill and the rest. Either way, we're not here to pick on Billy. We love him, and I just can't wait to see the motherfucking cape.
Yeah.
And I guarantee he's going to have a pimp cane, too.
Oh, dude.
Guaranteed.
Oh, man. That's just like, what do you think
he's... Because Billy D, I believe, requires a cane to move.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense. Give him a fucking Force cane, some sort of pimp, Empire relic cane. I don't care, but I want to see him with a cane and a cape.
Yeah, I think that'd be dope. What do you think what color do you think he sports? Because Solo was yellow, and then OT was blue. What do you think he's rocking? Purple?
Well, then, yeah, Jedi, it was more that beigey type of look with, I think it had like a blue lining to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with something purple.
Regal looking. Like, what do you think he's up to? What do you think Lando in Star Wars?
Pimping. He's gonna be doing some sort of pimping shit.
He's like, I had
because he clearly didn't stick with the rebellion and which eventually became the Resistance. So I think like Han, we know that Han tried to be a family man, but just the way Leia was going, gearing up to be a general again, and I think he kind of felt like, I gave this life what I could, but it's not me. I'm Han. I can't be locked down.
Yeah,
I think Lando's probably the same way. Like, he did his service. They won. I'm sure he was with them all the way through the Battle of Jakku, and then he probably went back and, maybe he took over Bespin again and just kept making money on his mining operation. Who knows?
Yeah. So, like you said, it's going to be incredible to see Billy D. Williams donning that cape again. Donald Glover did more than justice to the character in Solo, but it's going to be good to see the original back in the flesh, rocking the cape.
I think he's going to be someone they're searching out. I don't think he's going to be someone that just shows up when we see the Resistance again.
Dude,
I don't even think he'll be in the Resistance. I think they'll actually be looking for him.
I think like you're on the right track with him being in charge of something again. I think they may be going after him because he may be in charge of his own motherfucking planet and have his own militia. And like one of the rumors that we're going to get to
him and Lobot.
Yeah. Lobot, I wrote up an article on him too. Lobot's still chilling with him. Lobot's his humble servant. But I think that it's very possible that they go for him for reinforcements cuz in the next article we talk about some of the stuff we're hitting on here. There's a few more things. One of the things is that the time jump is 1 year. 1 year is not a lot of time, especially considering what is needed of the Resistance in order to give the First Order a fight. Like
not to rebuild an entire armada. They have nothing.
Yeah.
They probably have a capital ship left, No, they don't even have that because they all left in the fucking Falcon.
Exactly. And, I mean, the last capital ship that they had was the one that Holdo was on, and she used it to fucking split the uprise.
You're right.
Like, that was it.
They have nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, so, I mean...
Nothing. They have no forces. They have no help. I mean, they put out the calls. No one from the New Republic came to help them. They were essentially cast aside until Luke beamed his ass across the galaxy and gave them the 10 minutes they need to bail.
Yeah, but, I mean, Lando, we know that Lando is a smooth motherfucker, and he can get his hands on shit that nobody thinks he can get his hands on. So
he definitely wasn't a part of the New Republic if he's running a system or a planet. I mean, he's probably in the unknowns or way out there in the outer rim where you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want anyway.
Oh, yeah, they're like, how the fuck do we get forces? We need an on-demand army, essentially, and they're like, Lando Calrissian, baby. He's got it.
Yeah, I like it. That could work. Next up, we may be getting a little resistance creeping into Episode 9, and that's the fact that we've heard or making Star Wars reported based on these marketing meetings, which, again, basically toys are being shown off and materials that we can buy. But they said they saw a red First Order trooper, not so much exactly like Major Von Reg from Star Wars Resistance, who, Nick punched up a get to know this motherfucker. But at least that red armor, I mean, it's full-on red armor. It sounds like this armor is going to be red with black accents, but they're going to have unique-looking helmets. I think I kind of equate it to how Death Troopers, you could tell they are still a variety of Stormtrooper, but their helmets were clearly different than the common Stormtrooper. So I'm thinking these red First Order Troopers are either like elite units, elite type of pilots, but they're going to have a different helmet style.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be fantastic if they actually brought Von Reg in. Maybe not as like a primary role, but like maybe he's the one who leads this squadron of red, death-like troopers for the First Order. But it is cool to see. I mean, they've done a really good job in every one of these movies adding in a new, really awesome-looking aesthetic trooper or First Order type of person. Like last movie was the Praetorians. They were all in red and they were really badass. We saw them in the fight scene.
Rogue One still has done the best. I mean, what Rogue One did for Stormtrooper designs is amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean the Scarif.
I mean the Scarif Trooper, fucking pimps.
Mm-hmm.
I mean they're like a mix of Stormtrooper and Scout Trooper.
Yeah.
Death Trooper, pimps.
Death Trooper is right up front too.
Love those look. The Tank Trooper, pimps.
Dude, they've done the Disney Star Wars team has done such a good job iterating on what we already had in the original trilogy and making it fresh and making it new. I mean, even if we go to Solo with the range troopers that we saw on Vandor, like that
exactly,
like, just such
pimps.
Good stuff. Like they've done an amazing job of taking what was already there and then making it new and then iterating. Just fantastic job. But Red Troopers, I'm all in, dude. Like, I want to see it. I mean, I'd like to see some motherfucking Gold Troopers, too. Bring out, Commander Pyre and his boys, all in gold. Bring them all.
See, I'm with you on the armor. I don't think any of the cartoon characters are going to make it.
Probably not. But
I think they've kind of decided the cartoons are going to stay the cartoons. We're allowed to bring in, like, big characters to the cartoons, but so far we're not allowed to take our big characters and put them into the movie.
Exactly, yeah. So it's going to be really cool to see how those troopers play into things and where they're going to be used in Episode 9. So next up we got...
we kind of teased this one already when we were talking about who could JJ essentially just eliminate that Ryan created. And, we discussed Rose. I think that's highly unlikely. I mean, I honestly think Disney, which is, they're very SJW, but they would get SJW to death if they cut Rose, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But these two that you...
Well, really the one. So, basically, again, make Star Wars marketing meetings, yada, yada, yada. You know where we're getting a lot of this stuff from. But apparently there's been zero mention of DJ, at least in terms of product launches for Episode 9. And there's also been no mention of Porgs. First on DJ, okay. I mean, he served his purpose. If he isn't back, I don't think that's a big deal at all. At all.
100% agree. His story wrapped up enough in TLJ to where you don't need to bring him back. I mean, but there's also potential, like you said, for them to use him if they really needed to.
Right. I know, yeah, we've talked about this before, but the way MSW was phrasing this, it sounds like DJ is just completely MIA.
Which is so weird to me. I mean, like, you cast a massive actor like Benicio del Toro and it is essentially a throwaway role. But
yeah.
I mean,
so who knows? I mean, again, these are rumors. These are not facts, and all they said is there's no mention of him for any sort of product launch, product promotions, marketing, this, that, and the other thing. Porgs, on the other hand, I don't know. I think we may see at least one. I mean, we did see Chewie bonding with one in particular, and I believe they left Acto with a fucking Porg nest on the Falcon.
yeah, I think
It just comes down to, does JJ want to spend any time in having them in the background or shooting a quick silly scene with them?
Yeah, I mean, Porgs were there when the Falcon showed up on Crate. I mean, you could see.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
they were like burrowing within the Falcon's electronic system.
Yeah, so I mean, they're there, but like you
And
said,
Homeboy, like, I think he actually has a name, was in the cockpit with Chewie.
yeah, so
Screaming and like, oh.
yeah, he hit the window and shit. Like, there was a lot of stuff like that was happening.
And I have no problem if they throw some Porgs at us. I actually love Porgs.
Yeah, I mean, I think for continuity's sake, I mean, toss one on Chewie's shoulder.
At least the one, yeah, exactly. And he has his own bandolier now. Like, he has his own fucking. He has his own bowcaster.
Dude. I am with that. Oh yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be fucking great.
No, Star Wars isn't allowed to be funny.
You're right. It's all serious. Never has there been a joke in Star Wars, ever.
They did your mom joke in Star Wars. How dare they?
Good God. But yeah, I mean, honestly, these two departures, DJ, I'm totally fine with. Like,
either. I don't care if Porgs don't show up either. I think it'd be nice, and I do think they'll get in there. Why not? But
yeah,
is it going to affect the movie? Not at all.
No. And the last piece of this article we already talked about was the first trailer drop. So
not even worth touching on.
So a few more things, rumor mill-wise for Episode 9. One that we kind of touched on briefly, the 1 year period of time between Episode 8 and Episode 9. Not a lot to expand on there. It's just a very short time period, like you were saying, Matt, to build a force, to build an army, to do anything to combat the First Order with what they had left. I mean, so just not that, not a lot.
That's
of time.
tricky. That's tricky. I don't know. I mean, were they taking this to the bank a year after, or is this speculation, or was this actually communicated in the marketing meeting?
So this is basically, I'll read the quote and then we'll kind of go through piece by piece. So this is from the Reddit users, whatever, the fake Reddit, name that was just made to post.
All right,
these
so
things.
yeah, okay, so you don't even have to read the whole thing. Then they straight up say
they only
it
mention
takes place about a year after.
Yeah, it takes place about a year after. So that is directly within that marketing meeting. Interesting. I mean, I feel like it kind of fits though, because if it takes place a year after and the First Order are the aggressors and they're coming to finish it, then it makes sense that we may see the characters split up like they are. Like, we assume right now that Poe and Finn are together on this plane. Like, we've seen them on the plains of some sort of planet, and they were with like a tribe of people. And then we've seen the Falcon off in this jungle location. So it would make sense that, like, these characters are splitting up and they're looking for something. They need
and I'm
something.
pretty sure Rey and company's going to be the one in the Falcon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically her ship.
Yeah, at this point it is. It's
It's got to be Chewie's ship, but I think she's become the pilot.
Yeah, she's become the pilot. He's still the co-pilot, and
come on, we can't give away the Falcon to Rey.
I mean, he's essentially
Chewie's. Yeah, I mean, he's got to have just as many rights to it as Han.
To me, I feel like Chewie takes a fathership role here. Like, he becomes like Rey's not really her
He's
dad.
always been. I mean, he was fucking 130 when he met Han. I mean, he's always been like the wise figure.
Yeah, the paternal.
Even though he he doesn't speak English.
Exactly. So I think he takes that role with Rey now, where like yes, it is his ship, but she's
And they didn't show it in Solo because obviously they just met. But when you go and rewatch the old trilogy, I mean, they are literally a married couple.
Oh yeah,
and Chewie is the righteous one. He's the one always giving Han shit for being a scoundrel.
Yeah, like he's.
I mean, it's the best. The best example is New Hope at the end. Battle Yavin, he's stacking his credits. Luke makes his case. Han's like, nah, fuck you. And Chewie's like, ah, you fucking cocksucker. And Han's like, whatever, dude. You know we got to go pay this shit off.
Yeah.
Don't give me this bullshit.
So, I mean, it's that role for Chewie. I really fucking hope to God that nothing happens to him because I don't know if I can take it. Like, if Chewie goes down, like...
Nah, at this point, I mean, we know they're going to have to do something with Leia, and we know Han and Luke are already gone. I mean, you can't decimate him. I mean, Chewie, out of all of them, has got to get through. And it makes sense. He's an alien. He can live for hundreds of years. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we don't have to worry about, he's old. No, I mean, fucking, he's pushing, 200 at this point?
Yeah, he'll be fine. So, the next rumor that wasn't touched on before is a new character is going to be entering this movie, supposedly. And it's a sidekick for BB-8, and his name is Dio.
I love it.
So the way that I framed it is we're all accepting the fact that these movies are phasing out your original trilogy characters. And if that's true, then as much as we would hate to see it, like C-3PO and R2-D2 are going to move out. They're probably not going to get destroyed or die or anything like that. Like, they're just not going to be the central figures. And you need that duo, like that droid duo, like you've had since fucking the prequels with C-3PO and R2-D2.
I mean, we haven't had it yet in the new trilogy. There has been. I mean, you get a little flavor of R2 and 3PO at the end of TFA.
Yeah, and you get.
But that's just like, oh my God, my friend, I haven't seen you for a long time because you just fucking passed your shit out.
Yeah, so
it's not the hijinks that those two were known for in the original trilogy. I mean, that's another couple to watch in those movies again. I mean, C-3PO is such a cocksucker. I'm just an asshole.
Yeah,
but you can see over the years why he became it. I mean, R2 was always fucking with him earlier on. I mean, hell, he pushed him down in that droid factory and almost got him killed.
Yeah, literally had his head ripped off and put onto a battle
R2,
body.
if you think about it, was always kind of the
Risk
boss. I mean, he was around much longer than 3PO. I mean, you remember 3PO was created by a boy in a hovel on Tatooine.
Yeah. And R2...
That's pretty impressive what he became, but R2 was like a manufactured astromech from the Republic, probably top of the line when he came out.
Yeah, I mean, he was put on the ship, on the, the queen or the queen of Naboo's ship to protect her. So...
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and it's going to be interesting to see how this dynamic plays out and where this droid comes from, where Dio is, how it's brought in. So
I wish. I mean, I know it'd be too similar, but I wish it was like a bipedal droid, another protocol type of droid.
Yeah, I definitely don't want another rolling droid. I think.
It's gonna have to be. I mean, smaller than BB-8. What the fuck? What's it gonna be? A mouse droid?
Could be.
Like the little Empire guy, the little wee 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 wee.
It's a really small pit droid. I don't know, like something.
Yeah, I mean, I want it to kind of walk around.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if they did.
I don't want them both on wheels or tracks or the ball. I mean, but hey, whatever. I think it'd be cool. I mean, we already know BB has a personality. I mean, he's definitely a little more R2 than C-3PO. Flipping out his lighter thumb and
yeah,
putting out like 800 different robotic arms to try and plug the issue on proposed X-wing at the beginning of 8.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential for that, but what I want to see is like, okay, we get Dio and BB. Does that mean, like, does this relationship persist on somewhere? Like, we're assuming that episode 9 is the end for all of these characters, right? Or do we think that Rey?
They're calling it the end of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, which is tricky.
I think that leaves the door open if they want to return to the story of Rey, Finn, Poe, potentially Kylo.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I think it might have been during press for TLJ, Daisy's like, oh yeah, I just want to be done or something like that. And then she came back like, oh no, I would probably return. It sounded like someone reminded her that she signed a contract and she could potentially be locked down for multiple more movies if they make them.
Yeah.
Type of deal.
It's like, hey, yo, you signed a contract that spans over 30 years, lady.
Right.
So you may want to.
We got you like we got all these other people before you were famous. We got you cheap. Now we made you superstars, and now we're still paying you like $1. But by the way, you are on the hook for this many more films.
Yeah, just in case.
But no, it's really just said the Skywalker saga. So
Yeah.
that to me is you would no longer really be able to see, if he makes it, Chewie, 3PO, and R2.
Yeah. So, but this new duo, Dio and BB-8, are set to take center stage as your new droid sidekicks. So pretty interesting. Moving on to the only other piece that wasn't covered in Matt's post, but was covered in this kind of spiel on Reddit, and it's the fact that there's going to be a final showdown between Kylo and Rey. That is said, within this marketing conference at Disney, is that there's going to be.
I mean,
the final
doesn't take a
showdown.
rocket scientist to figure that out.
Yeah. So, and it's going to happen. So, okay. So it's the final showdown is going to happen at the climax, obviously. Duh. So, does this ultimately mean that they're like, we were kind of speculating, trying to poke holes into how this movie could happen, and we were like, well, there could be an outside force that comes in that forces the First Order to make some sort of move that they weren't expecting, and it gives the Resistance / Rebellion time to power up. Like, does this ultimately shoot that down to where, like, this is just going to be Resistance / Rebellion versus First Order, and that this movie is going to end like Return of the Jedi ended?
Well, yeah, let's be real. What was The Force Awakens?
Yeah, it was New Hope.
What was it?
It was New Hope. New Hope 2.0.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. I loved it. I loved the similarities. I really think that was the right way to start it. I mean, shit. People were pissed then, and then when a guy tries to do something different, they get even more angry. So you might as well just try to remake the old and not try to piss off as many people. I'm being silly. I do think it is going to mirror Jedi.
I do.
I mean, but here's something we've heard a lot on, and there's a good chance it is true. Hux potentially is going to be a mole.
Yes. Yeah, we have heard this.
He potentially is going to be the one that is allowing the Resistance to even compete at this point in time a year later.
Well, yeah.
But it's been stated that he's only doing it for his end game, which is to get control of the First Order. So I think the only way I could see Kylo being redeemed, coming back to the light, is if Hux does pull his triple cross and really has Rey in a tough spot and the Resistance, and just like Vader was seeing the errors of his ways when Luke beat him down, then he saw his master trying to kill him. Maybe that's what gets Kylo to switch out of his shit to save Rey. Or it goes the completely opposite and she truly has to fucking wipe him out.
Yeah. I mean, the Hux standpoint is very interesting because within TLJ, he's essentially become a lackey, like a laughingstock of the First Order.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I totally see the Hux. That could be a reality. I mean, they've set it up to where he has deep motivation to turn on Kylo, to undermine Kylo. I mean, they fucking hate each other.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Hux used to have a direct contact with Snoke himself. Like, and now probably under Kylo's reign, he's busted down to fucking, errand boy or something. So him wanting to get back is definitely, definitely within his character, and it also could be what leads Rey to these locations if she's looking for something. Like, he's feeding her information or feeding the Resistance information on where to find, whatever it is that they're looking for, or how to get in contact with, people who are sympathetic to the Resistance. It's very possible that plays out, and like you said, it could lead to an ultimate double cross where, Kylo is ousted as the leader of the First Order by Hux in some way, which would be interesting.
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying the only way I see Kylo redeemed is something happens to Rey that he can't tolerate. I don't see any other character in this universe that he even remotely cares about to redeem himself for.
Yeah.
Who else does he give a fuck about?
No, there's nobody left. I mean, unfortunately, with Leia having to be dead
I mean, ultimately,
movie.
I think that's what it was going to be. I mean, that we heard that she was going to be Major. They were going to have a showdown of some sorts. Maybe he wipes her out there, and then that's like the last thing that just kind of eats at him. And Rey's that she's like, fuck you, you need to die, or whatever. I don't see Kylo turning in the same manner that Vader did. Like, there's just no emotional connection he has with anyone outside of Rey.
Yeah, no.
Unless we do find out that they're brother and sister, and he finds out at the last minute. The man is pure evil. He's embraced evilness since he was 10 years old. What the fuck does he care about? I mean, he does care about his mom. A little bit. I mean, his wingmen still blast her out into space, but he couldn't do it himself.
I mean, there's definitely within him a longing for acceptance and some sort of I don't want to say companionship, but like the kid, he's a kid from a broken home. And like, if you just take the psychology of that and apply it to what we know just in the real world, I mean, like, those types of people can go down dark paths to latch on to whatever they can identify as a family. So like, even within his role as in the First Order now, he still doesn't have what he's looking for in terms of just personal relationships. So, and that could change, like you said, that could change on a dime. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how that character plays out in this. He's the one that I'm most interested in. Out of every character in this movie, he's the one with still the most plot left to fill in. I mean, Rey, we kind of know where she's going to go. I mean, like, there's only one path for her within this movie. It would be very odd to see her not take the heroic path, and it's very straightforward. For Kylo, his story has a lot of intricacy left within it to play out. So I'm really interested to see how this showdown between these two affect his overall plot line and what eventually leads to it, and how, like, what his mindset is going into it, because I think that's going to be pivotal to how it plays out. Is what, like, how is he approaching it? So it should be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll know about a year from now, I guess. And obviously, I think once we start getting some trailers and a little more concrete information, Nick and I will be able to use our Force abilities to speculate our asses off and really give you some plot nuggets to latch onto going into the movie. For now, it's just too wide open. And in the end, we speculated our asses off over TLJ, and we both went in and came out going, well, what the fuck? We didn't really expect to see any of that.
It's like, yeah, we got everything wrong. What?
I mean, I guess that shows you the genius of Ryan, but you never know. I mean, JJ could definitely surprise us here. I still think he may kind of lean back on the model he used for TFA and borrow themes and elements from Jedi and to put him in the 9, but only time will tell. So that about does it, my friends. I don't want to say goodbye because it's not goodbye. We're not going anywhere. We're just moving channels, moving feeds, moving sites. Just give you another reminder. Again, this will be the last podcast that you're going to be able to get from the Entertainment Buddhacast podcast feed networks. Meaning if you've been listening through iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Android, whatever, you're going to have to follow us over to StarWarsTime.net and grab all the new links there and subscribe. And we hope you do come with us. It's already been kind of sad to see us rebooting socials and having 0 following. But we know you're out there. We know some of you listen, and we just hope you come with us. Again, we're not leaving. This is not goodbye. We're just switching channels. We're going full-on Star Wars time. StarWarsTime.net. Get with it. Bookmark it. You won't miss anything. All right, people? So we will see you on the other side. Until then, may the Force be with you, always.